heavy load of work, not equal pay.
I want to change my life because this is a huge challenge.
It was a big risk for me.
People are different from their governments.
The universities in the United States are significantly better than universities in my country.
I think it's not possible because of huge power of media.
Experience living in a different culture.
It was always my dream.
We should get closer to each other.
If you want to find a job here, you need to have a really good network. And
education is very important in Iranian culture. Most Iranians are eager to complete the highest level of education. Many are interested in math and science and aspire to become medical doctors or engineers. They dream of being accepted into top-ranking institutions in Iran, like the University of Tehran or the Sharif University of Technology. Each year, high school graduates prepare to take the concours, the nationwide entrance examination, in hopes of being admitted to university. Only the top students are accepted.
Education, as we know, is very important in Iranian culture. I have been a student myself in Iran, and I know that at the time we were all interested to become engineer, medical doctor. We were very interested in science, math, and all those challenging areas. And one of our goals was to be admitted to one of the school in Iran, engineering school or medical school. And that was kind of like our dream. And there were a lot of competition for entrance examination, what we call as concours, those days.
Nowadays, in Iran, most students with an undergraduate degree or even higher degree cannot find a job with a sustainable income. Owed to economic tension, deficiency of scientific and technological resources, lack of job security, job choice restriction, and other factors, it becomes necessary that Iranian students complete their higher education at master and PhD level outside of Iran. Therefore, they try hard to leave Iran to pursue higher education in order to experience a new lifestyle with better facility and technology.
I wanted to pursue my PhD. However, according to the new rules for university entrance exams, you had to pass the technical exam. Once you pass the technical exam, then you'll have to go through a religious interview. Unfortunately, I was not so sure whether I would pass that religious interview. That, and also I thought, why not, pursue a degree from one of the schools in the United States that would even, secure the opportunity of getting better jobs.
There is a difference as a woman. Iran is a very religious country, and due to culture or religious issues, you're not allowed to, I would say, to work in a lab environment if there are all men working in that lab. So you're kind of isolated, and there is a difference, and you can tell that you don't have the same opportunity as a woman to work in that area, So that was one of my major motivations to come over here, because right now I can work with a lot of women, men. There's no difference as far as we're just studying or we're doing the research. There's no difference, and that's a huge pressure.
The universities in the United States are significantly better than universities in my country, and there is also a close relationship between the university and industry. So it has many advantages as compared with the university that we have.
I really wanted to continue my education in other countries, especially America, because it was always my dream. I remember my father was studying in this country, and he always told me about how America, I mean, how educational system in America was going on, and I really wanted to pursue my education here.
I came here to gain more experience in my field, and I had the opportunity to get my master's in a better university with better equipments, and I always wanted to experience living in a different culture.
I wanted to continue my research in an academic field, and I heard that United States has lots of great universities. And I actually could get a scholarship from this university, so that was my main reason to get here. And I knew that with a higher degree, I could have gotten very great position in my country, a very good job.
Many of these Iranian students who come to United States, they already have some basic degrees, like a bachelor degree. Some of them come here with a master degree, and what they are interested in doing is pursuing research and also get higher degree. Like the students with a bachelor degree, they want to get their master's, or a student with a master degree, they want to get their PhD, and even we have in some cases a student with PhD that they want to go for a postdoc position. And some of these opportunities are not that easily available in Iran, and that's why they come to United States. They take advantage of the situation, and in particular, they are able to get some financial support from universities at United States. In some cases, the tuition is free. In some cases, in addition, they will get teaching assistant or research assistant position as well.
The main reason international students come to the United States is we are the premier source for higher education. So students come here to get the world-class education and make a better life for themselves, and also to take what they've learned and improve their home countries.
Most international students are interested in studying in the United States. According to the Institute of International Education, more than 800,000 international students study at American universities. The number of Iranians attending universities in the United States has increased exponentially in the last decade. In the 2013-14 academic year, 10,194 Iranian students were studying in the United States. Therefore, Iranians make up only about 1% of international students on American campuses, but it was the 12th leading country for students coming to the U.S. Iranian students continue to face many challenges on the path to studying in U.S. universities.
If I go back to 10 years ago, we had just a handful of Iranian students here at the University of Toledo. Less than 5 or 6 students at the entire university, as far as I know. But now we have more than 80 Iranian students combined in University of Toledo and Bowling Green State University, which is close by. That tells me that really Iranian students have a very good record of research and publication. And many faculties in different departments, they are interested in working with Iranian students because of that good record that they have here. And I can see the same thing happening in other schools and other universities. Fortunately, at the University of Toledo, I am proud to say that as a faculty member, I'm Iranian. And part of that is a very good record of research and coursework of our Iranian students here at the University of Toledo. I know that many of my American colleagues and they have come to me and asked me if I can find them Iranian student, good graduate Iranian student that could come here and continue their work with them and work in their research lab.
Interestingly enough, the Iranian population has exploded in the last 10, 12 years. We went from about 6 students to 60 students. And in comparison to other international student populations, they're about 4th or 5th in the overall. You know, we're looking at overall Saudi Arabia, China, India, South Korea, Canada, and also Iran is way up there.
Well, when we first began working with international students here, it was, again, about the beginning of 2005. And from my recollection, there was about 3 students from Iran. And that number quickly grew to 5, 9, 10, 12. And I think last year, in 2013, I think the official number of enrolled students was about 55. And that's really remarkable over an 8 or 9 year period, the explosion of Persian students.
From 2012 to 2014, this semester now, we've had an increase in students from Iran. In 2012, it started off with just 2 students, and now we have 11 students right now. This doesn't catch every student, but these are the students that we work with, so there could be students out there that we don't necessarily work with if they don't have an F1 visa. So these are active students in our system.
Iran used to be one of the closest allies of the USA. The United States Commission for Cultural Exchange between Iran and the United States was created to promote understanding between the 2 countries, making visa and university acceptance very easy for Iranian students. Shortly after the 1979 Islamic Revolution, the relationship between Iran and the United States crumbled, and since then, receiving a U.S. visa and university acceptance has been a high-cost hassle. The admission process, lack of access to legal payment methods due to sanctions, visa processing, absence of an American embassy in Iran, passing standardized tests like the English Language Proficiency Test or the TOEFL, and the Graduate Record Examination or GRE are just some of the challenges that Iranian students face.
To get admission from a U.S. university, you have to have a TOEFL score and GRE score, which is 2 hard exam. Both of them are English exam, and getting TOEFL and getting GRE is another hard process for all the international students who want to come to US.
For me, because my major is physics, I had to take another extra exam called GRE subject.
Students who want to come to United States, they have to go through a lot of different obstacles before getting here. Getting visa is the main problem, especially when we don't have any American consulate in Iran and they have to travel overseas to specific countries, not any countries that they want to get visa, and sometimes they have to do this several times going back and forth. So getting visa is really a challenge.
The problem is that most Iranian students cannot afford to pay their expenses outside of Iran. Unless they find an institution that pays for their expenses, they cannot leave the country. Due to the success of Iranian students in terms of excellent GPA, some with publications in prestigious conferences and journals, U.S. universities are admitting them with teaching or research assistantships. But this is not the case for all of them.
First of all, we had to apply for different schools in the United States. That whole process took a little while. The difficulty there for me was how to pay the application fees. Because of sanctions and all, I couldn't really, I didn't have a way to transfer the fee online, so I had to find people abroad who I would trust them, they would trust me to give me their credit card information, or I would give them my account information so they would log on to my account and do it for me. So that was the difficult part. Another difficult part in the application process was the fact that we weren't 100% sure whether the documents that we were mailing to the different schools would actually get there. Again, because of the sanctions, and we were not 100% sure whether it would get to the final destination. And then again, we had to wait for, get responses, and then if some school would respond back to you late, it would interfere with getting an interview scheduled with the United States Embassy, which that is a whole different story. We do not have a United States Embassy in Iran, so we'd have to travel to a different country and have the interview there. And that has a lot of problems associated with that. One, extra expense to travel to that country. Second, depending on what country you chose to go, you'd also have to apply for the visa for that country too. So again, all of these are like interrelated. When the school responds, is it like in time? Are you sure whether you want to get the interview in time or not? All of that, but hopefully that passed. I went to the United States Embassy in Cyprus. However, this is the next difficulty that we have, which is you have to go back to that country and pick up your visa. So that's another trip. So more expenses. Again, apply for another visa for that country if it's a country that you would need a visa to travel to. Or sometimes you get very lucky and you can explain your situation to them. If somebody's traveling there, they might allow for a different person to pick up the visa for you. However, under no circumstances they will mail it to you. So either someone has to go there or you have to go there and pick it up. So far, 2 extra trips. And then, okay, I have my visa. I'm off to a new start and embarking this new journey.
We as boys in Iran, we need to serve in military for 2 years, and that's mandatory for boys older than 18-year-old. So we need to deposit the money to the military accounts, a big amount of money, so that they know for sure that we're going to go back to the country.
The major problem in my personal experience was the fact that I really wasn't 100% sure that I want to change my life, because this is a huge challenge. This is a big difference. You want to travel to another country and you cannot travel back and forth, to visit your family that often like other countries. So it was a big challenge for me to convince myself.
Military services, it was a very, very time-consuming process for me that I needed to do a lot of process.
There are more challenges awaiting Iranian students once they arrive in America. Single-entry visas, money transfers with the devaluation of Iranian currency, culture shock, language barriers, homesickness, and depression are some of the struggles that many face. A single-entry visa means that once the student has entered America, they cannot leave, even in case of family emergency, without reapplying for a visa. This process can take up to a year and has no guarantee that they will be allowed to come back. Therefore, most Iranian students that come to the US accept the fact that they will not be able to go home during the entire duration of their study. Sometimes, they feel like they're entering a prison. Another major issue Iranian students face is that they cannot work off campus. Some students panic because their graduate advisor or graduate school has decided to reduce, or worse, take away their assistantship. This is a nightmare for Iranian students because they are not able to work outside of the campus or receive loans or transfer money from Iran due to sanctions. Their only option is to quit their studies and return to their country.
The most difficult part here is how do I phrase this? No matter how hard you try, you do not know from what aspect to try to get in, make new friends. It's not necessarily communication. It's more about how it's different. People have different attitudes. People have different cultures. So it's kind of difficult to make new friends. And then, again, you know, you hold a single entry visa. It's not like you say, I don't care to make new friends. You have to make new friends because you're stuck here for as long as your program, your education program takes.
I was far from my family, and I couldn't see them for I think about more than 2 years. And then when they were trying to come here, they also were rejected to come here for the first time. And after about 4 or 5 months taking clearance, they were rejected, and then they applied again. And then finally, after a year of their application filling, they were able to come here.
I had single entry visa. I was not able to see my family for 3 years. I had a fiancée in Iran. I was not able to see her for 3 years, so I needed to get a new visa because I had single entry visa, and because my major is sensitive, it's chemical engineering. I needed to renew my visa, do interview again, and make an appointment in the U.S. Embassy in another country, pay all the fees, go through the process again to renew my visa. So it was a big risk for me because sometimes they don't get new visa because of the sensitivity of our majors. So I made a risk. I made an appointment. I went to Canada to take a new visa. And based on our culture, I needed to go to Iran to see her family, to talk to them and convince them that I can support her. I'm a good husband for her. So I made a risk. I went to U.S. Embassy in Canada, and I did interview again. I received university fellowship, so I didn't have any money problem here. I had funding here, so it was not a big challenge for me. But paying for the all visa process again, it cost a lot.
Personally, for me, my mom passed away 2 years ago, and I couldn't come back, and that was really devastating. And I know some friends that they actually they had the same issue like me, and I don't. That was really hard. I think that it's not fair for us to have this issue because I don't know. We just came here to study. I don't think anybody, like any student, wants to do really bad thing. I don't know, with our research. I think that's the first issue. And another thing, it's about financial issue. Like tuition fee is too much here. However, we get financial support here, but if they cut or like a scholarship, like we are done. Like tuition fee is $12,000 every semester, and based on our currency devaluation, and it's impossible for us to pay for this. And like every semester we live with kind of panic, and we have to do whatever our advisor wants us to do, and sometimes what they expect us, it's not fair. They expect like when I got here, I had a supervisor, and he told me that I have to work 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I had to do whatever he asked me because I had no other choice. Americans can get loan from government. We don't have this option.
International students have a F1 visa. They can't work out of the university, and they don't have any work permission. In addition, my wife has a F2 visa, and F2 visa can't do anything. They can't have a job, and we don't have any income for a summer for 3 months, for more than 3 months, and we just live based on our saving, which we bring it with ourselves at the first day. And after one summer, I can get a half fund from my professor, and a half fund is just $800, and it's not enough for a living for a family who wants to live here. For example, half of this just goes for our rent, and it's very hard to live with this money. After 1 year, I can get a full fund. I can get support from 2 professors, and I get full fund. The full fund is $1,600, and it's not enough for a living for 2 people to live here, but we can't live based on this. I know this is the minimum income in US, but it's possible to live based on this income.
When you have F2 visa, it means you cannot work here. You cannot have any financial relation to any other institutions or people, or So in the case of me, after working like 4 years, even more, almost it was like five years, I think. After working as a teacher and having a job as a young woman, and then after moving to another country, you see that you cannot work, you cannot earn money.
My biggest challenge was to communicate with people, to find friends, and to study in the second language, to write a thesis in second language. So I came here in August of 2012, and I graduated in May of 2014, and that's less than 2 years, which is good. So, and then I looked for a job. I started to look for a job before graduating, and I could not find a job. I was applying for a job, and then the challenge is that the companies are not willing to sponsor international students for their visa, most of the companies. So they are not very willing to get engaged in the hard process of sponsoring international students for their visa. So it's been like, if we say that I've been searching from end of the May, it's been almost 5 months that I've been looking for a job, and I couldn't find a job. Another challenge that I had was to go back for visiting country. I was lucky enough to get a multiple entry visa, and it was valid for 2 years. And during these 2 years, I couldn't go back to visit my family to my country because of I couldn't afford the expenses, and I was so busy with my school, and then my visa expired and I couldn't go back to my country. And I don't think I can go back for a visit till like another 4 or 5 years.
This is a different country, a totally different language. Of course, you have some basic knowledge how to speak in English, but it's not that good, and this is not your mother tongue. So you have to deal with a lot of problems like opening a bank account. You don't have any credits, you don't have any, like, you don't have like a ID or identification, you don't have social security, and then to get all of those and to get the help, because here in my experience back in Iran, I grown up in a city with a huge public transportation. Here in the US you don't have a car, and then just if you wanted just to go to grocery store, you have to walk for at least like 45 minutes or ask for a friend like to give you a ride. That was one of the biggest challenges. I was like, it's like I am isolated here. I don't have any for a while I couldn't recognize myself because I thought I'm a totally different person. Besides the fact that you're a student, you come here to study and to teach. I was a teaching assistant, so you have to go ahead and just teach to like 20, 50 students, American students. They speak in English. You have to communicate with them. You have to teach them. You have to help them learn something. And plus you have to learn other things because you're a student, and this is the main goal that you came here. So language was obviously one of the major problems, but over time you get through it, and that was like, I don't know, maybe like 6 months. In the 6 months it was my biggest problem, but yeah, after that you get used to it and you get through all of those problems. You grow up.
For an Iranian student, leaving the family members and friends is very difficult, and I know some students are struggling with depression. As somebody who is familiar with these issues, I've been trying to help non-American students, especially Iranian students, as much as I can. Along with some faculty members, Iranian people, and some students who have been here for a while, we try to help the students as much as we can. We exchange our emails, telephone numbers, and we try to keep in touch very often. As an example, PARS stands for Persian American Regional Society in Toledo, has a lot of events, including Iranian holidays, picnics, and other activities. We invite these students to join us, and in general, speaking Farsi is a very big support for Iranian students.
When they get here, they want to make sure that they can get some kind of financial support, and I'm glad to say that most of them were able to get at least a tuition waiver, so they don't pay for the tuition. And many of them, in addition, they also have teaching assistant as well as research assistant. Most of our students, of course, are graduate students, and it's easier for them to get these financial support. However, we have a handful of undergraduate students that they come to Toledo after they finish their high school. For those students, we have been able to talk to International Student Service and get them a particular scholarship that enable them to pay as a resident of Ohio and not as a foreign international. So basically they have to pay half of the tuition that they were supposed to pay, and what they pay is almost the same as somebody who has been living in a state of...
Well, students coming here from all over the world, some of the needs are very obvious. A lot of students feel a little bit insecure about their English, and so they would like help with English. And some actually come here to study English, and they need actually mentoring. Then students arrive here, and it's not easy to get situated. They come to a country where they don't have a driver's license, they don't know where to find things, they don't know, they move into an apartment, for example, and they find out that it's just a big empty box and there's no furniture there. So we found that students, when they move here, it's not easy. There's just a lot of practical needs at the beginning. And then, of course, there are many needs for friendship. How do you break into the social circles in a new city and a new place when you're from a different culture? So we found that the social needs, just the practical needs, and help with English are probably three of the top.
International students are going to have the challenges of homesickness, culture shock, the language barriers. Those things are some of the bigger things that I just think off the top of my head, but there are so many little things that kind of go into that and make for those challenges.
And Iranian students are, of course, welcome to participate in that process. We start out with an admission, so the students get admission to the United States, to the University of Toledo, to get their admission documents, and in there we have information about how to prepare to enter the United States. Oftentimes, administrators overlook that important task of preparing a student to enter the United States. A lot of things are different than back home. There's different currency, different language, different ways to rent homes, to get utilities. So we try to have students prepared for what to expect to get here. So we start with pre-arrival preparation. Once the students get here, there's a few ways they get here depending on the season. Sometimes we give them rides, sometimes it's organized through great student organizations on campus like the Persian Student Association, one of my favorites, or the International Student Association, who encompasses all international students. It helps to get rides from Detroit Metro Airport to the University of Toledo, and helps them find accommodations around the area. Soon after they arrive, they would come in contact with the international office where we give them additional information to help them prepare for their academic journey. Much of that we do is the backside of things. So we'll make sure the students have housing, we'll make sure they have knowledge of where to find grocery stores, where they need to get their utilities, also driver's license, the things that we would take for granted as American citizens. We try to help the students prepare so that when they start their academics, they're all focused on academics. So when they do come here, we have then an orientation, a formal day where we greet everyone, we welcome everyone, we introduce them to the staff that will help them throughout their academic journey, and we also help them try to make friends, because we found that students that have friends, they have connections to their home country, connections to things that are familiar to them, will acclimate or become more secure in their surroundings. They'll have less homesickness. They'll have more of those home-cooked meals that are similar to home, conversations and things that they can relate to that are similar to back home. And we find that makes a huge difference in the academic success and also the personal well-being. The hardest things for students, and I think I have to phrase this broadly, the hardest things for Americans and administrators to understand is the impact of financial devaluation of currency. As you may know, the United States has very strong sanctions against the country of Iran, and that ripple effect affects the students that arrive here. So the currency has been devalued to once was a modest to minuscule equivalency to US dollars, and that hurts the students because they don't have the ability to or the security of paying for tuition and securing groceries and securing good housing. So that's one of the challenges we had when the United States increased sanctions or expanded sanctions and also encompassed other countries to jump on the sanctions against Iran. And I found that a lot of students are coming into financial situations, and those are hard to deal with. We're a public institution, we have limited funds to help students, so then we have to think of creative ways to help find the resources for students to continue going to school here. And so those are those difficult conversations which you wish I could personally open my wallet or welcome them into my home until the things pass, but we know that's not always realistic. We can't do that with everybody. So we get creative. We find ways to work with what we have. We work with the departments to help students with their difficulties with tuition. We work with local churches and mosques for food and also financial support. So we look at all the great resources we have here in Toledo. One of the challenges a lot of our students face from coming from Iran is that they're only permitted to enter the United States one time. and that's called a single entry visa. So they come here with F1 visa, which took them maybe minimum 2 weeks, maximum 9 months to get this entry document to get into the United States, the visa. Once they get that visa, they can then, assume their role as an academic student. But if they ever have an emergency to go home or want to go home to see their family, they have to go through the same rigor as they did before through the Department of State. They take the documents there, they prove that they're not going to immigrate to the United States, they prove they have sufficient funds, which now, as we know, is more challenging with the devaluation of the currency. To overcome all of that, then there's also security and background checks that delay the visa. So these visa delays can be have a significant impact on the student's education. For example, if a person needs to go home to see a family member because they're very ill, maybe in between the fall semester and spring semester, we have almost a month, they would go home and then see the family member. Well, the visa processing can take up to 9 months. So that puts them out of cycle with completing their degrees. I think it's an unfortunate and inhumane way to process diplomatic relationships when we can't get students expeditious visas or multiple entry visas. Now, multiple entry visa allows a student to come into the United States and return home for a set period of time. So there is a beginning date and an end date. But with those single entry visas, it really limits their ability to be human, to see their family, their loved ones, and to stay connected to their home country.
To solve single-entry visa issues, a group of Iranian graduate students studying across the United States formed an organization called MVisa, the Multiple Entry Visa for Iranian Students, in 2010. This organization and the National Iranian American Council tried to change the single-entry visa law. That same year, during President Obama's speech to the Iranian people for the Iranian New Year, stated,
"We will sustain our commitment to a more hopeful future for the Iranian people. For instance, by increasing opportunities for educational exchanges so that Iranian students can come to our colleges and universities, and through our efforts to ensure that Iranians can have access to the software and internet technologies that will enable them to communicate with each other and with the world without fear of censorship."
Finally, the Obama administration decided to extend multiple entry visas to Iranian students on May 20, 2011. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton elaborated this change.
I am very pleased to announce a big step forward in the Obama administration's support of the Iranian people. Under our old visa policy, Iranian students and exchange visitors were eligible for visas that lasted for only 3 months and could be used to enter the country just one time. As of today, that has changed. They are now eligible for 2-year multiple entry visas. This gives young Iranians the opportunity to return home for family events, to participate in internships, to travel outside the United States, and they won't need to get a new visa every time. I've heard from many Iranian students and Iranian Americans that you wanted this change, so I want you to know that we are listening to your concerns. We want more dialogue and more exchange with those of you who are shaping Iran's future. We want to be able to share with you what we think is great about America. Because as long as the Iranian government continues to stifle your potential, we will stand with you. We will support your aspirations and your rights, and we will continue to look for new ways to fuel more opportunities for real change in Iran. Thank you.
The State Department released another statement. As President Obama noted in his Nowruz statement on March 20, 2011, Iran's young people carry with them the power to create a country that is responsive to their aspirations. He pledged U.S. support for Iran's young people, and this is an example of that support. Making these adjustments to our visa policy reaffirms the President's pledge and will help build new avenues for engagement with Iran's youth, facilitate their ability to study in the U.S., and allow Iran's young people to better interact with the rest of the world. The U.S. government has eased granting visa to Iranian citizens, but the issue remains unsolved. Many of the students are in highly sensitive and technological fields. In 2014, the Wall Street Journal published an article stating, under General License G, issued by Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control, U.S. academic institutions can enter student exchange agreements with Iranian universities and provide scholarships to Iranian students seeking to study in the U.S. In addition, Iranian students can participate in online courses and Iranians can take university entrance and professional certificate exams. Due to these factors and increased economic crisis in Iran, we are witnessing an increase in the number of Iranian students coming to U.S. universities. According to the Institute of International Education, Iran, with a 25% increase in students over the 2012-13 academic year, was one of the highest annual increases in student enrollment from any country. More than 80% of them study at the graduate level, the highest percentage of international students from any country, and more than 75% are enrolled in STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, and math. Iran has the highest percentage among the top 20 countries that send students to the U.S. After completing their education, the majority of these students choose to stay permanently in the U.S. According to the National Science Foundation's annual survey of doctoral recipients in STEM subjects and social sciences between 2005 to 11, on average, 89% of Iranian students indicated a preference to stay in the U.S. after graduation. The percentage of Iranian students in this population is higher than any other country.
I expect to find a job right here. Don't you want me to work for you? You paid for my education.
To be able to find a good job here after my graduation, to be a successful person in my major, and to be able to serve here or my country back.
A lot of people go to school, graduate school, and they graduate, but then they end up doing something absolutely different from their education to make some money because they can't just follow the science and from science make some money. So I don't know. I feel like not necessarily here anywhere that I can. That would be great if I can go back home. I would be so happy, beyond happy, to with my family. But I really like to find a job related to what I tried hard for it, and I spend my time, for it, related to my work. That would be great.
I can go back to Iran and work there or stay here and find a job. There's a challenge to find a job here because of our status, because we don't have, legally we cannot work here. We need to find a sponsor to continue to work here. So, but with studying here in the U.S., in the best universities in the world, we can, there's more opportunity for us to find a job either here or back in Iran.
After graduation, problems start, I think, until you find a job, and it's always in our mind what we have to do after graduation.
But in reality, it was completely different. When I started to find a job, that was about 6 months before my graduation, and the time I found a job was exactly 6 months after my graduation. Almost about a year. I was looking for a job, and maybe you couldn't believe that, but I sent my portfolio and resume to 350 companies or something like that to find job, but I couldn't find anything. And I got a lot of interview, but all of them, they had somehow some issues to hire me. And later I found that if you want to find a job here, you need to have a really good network, and that's a really big problem for international students and people.
There are two groups of Iranian. Those who want to return to Iran and they know they can get a very high position with high income. The other groups who want to stay here, they expect that they can go anywhere and get a job, any companies they want. Unfortunately, that may not happen because of the competition in job market.
The expectations are different. Some students are excited to go back home. We've had students that are planning to go back and have a career in Iran. Some of them would like to stay here, but they all would like to maintain a level of professionalism in their field, and we've actually seen many of the Persian students do remarkable things, make some amazing discoveries.
Most of Iranian students who come here and graduate, complete their study, they want to get some kind of a practical training, and just completing their study and finishing their degree is not satisfying them. In addition, they want to work in a company, or in some cases they even want to teach at different school. And I'm glad to say that as far as I know, most of these students were able to find a job at a company, and they are also able to find a teaching position. And in some cases, we have our PhD student who go for a postdoc at a different school. Looking at this trend, I can see that the American companies, they are interested in hiring these students, because the other Iranian who work for them, they establish a good record, and that's why they are interested in hiring more Iranian students, graduate students, to work in their companies.
The U.S. companies are competing to hire them because these students can provide important economic benefits to the U.S. These students help bridge the gap between Iran and the U.S. They have brought a lot of recognition to their workplace. This is an opportunity for Americans to step out of their comfort zone and make the effort. Iranian students cannot change the perception that Americans have of Iranians overnight. Although the media often spreads false information, Iranian students should step forward and try to interact more with Americans and showcase their culture for what it really is.
This perception is not something that can be changed overnight, especially that they've been fed false information through the media constantly over time. So it will take quite a while if we wanted to change that perception. Maybe the media should start showing reality. That can have a lot of impact. And also, us as Iranians here living in the United States can also move a step forward and try to interact and socialize more with Americans here. That's the best way to communicate and demonstrate who we really are and what our culture really is.
I can't change the media. The media has its policies and its politics for advertisement, for like telling the news. They have their own line, they have their own way of thinking.
A lot of Americans, they have another totally different image from Iranians when you first come here and when they see you. For example, one of the funny things is that, like, for example, when they see you out, like, it's snowing outside, they're like, "Oh, is that your first time seeing the snow? You should be really excited." And we're like, "No, it's not actually. I've grown up in a city with a lot of snow. We have so many variety of different, like, weathers and different cultures, different languages in Iran. A major part of it is us as students. We have to be good ambassadors of Iranian culture, and Iranian people. And Americans are really getting to know us, I think. As time goes by, they interact with you, they're friends with you, and I always get this reaction that, oh wow, I didn't think that, like, Iranians are like this or like that, or if you know how to have fun, or if you know how to party, or if you know how to, they don't think that, like, we're human beings, we're like everybody else. We had we had a great childhood back in Iran. You know, we had the exact same toys that they had. We had kind of the exact same experience in the childhood and so on. You know, when we were teenagers, everything is kind of the same. It might be because in the news or like in all of the other images that the world is showing from Iran is totally different from the reality. So they're really surprised to see, wow, what's going on and what's happening in Iranian culture when they see the food, you know, the clothes, different things, so many different things, and they're like, wow, we didn't think that Iran is like this, or Iranians are, you know, we can be friends with, you know, those kind. Because they have this image that Iranians are scary.
I think it's not possible because of huge power of media that he has here. It's they actually Hollywood direct our idea about America, and I think that most of them were not true. I did not expect what I'm seeing here. Like the city that I live in my country, like, has lots of great places, and I thought that if I get here, I see so many opportunity for like having fun, but it wasn't like that because we did not have anything. We did not know anything about this country, whatever. Like, our knowledge was based on Hollywood movies.
I think American people, as long as I know, they don't know nothing about Iranian people, and so even some of them they don't know what is Iran.
Change views if you don't know somebody. So, like I said, everyone is raised with a certain set of perceptions or stereotypes that they have, and to get beyond that, you need to, if you have a stereotype of what somebody from a certain country is like, and then you meet a person, then you understand that your stereotype might not be exactly right. So yeah, if the media maybe portrays a certain country in a bad light, but then you meet somebody who's actually very friendly and something or someone that you find a lot of common ground with, then that changes your perception of that whole country, perhaps.
Well, the first Iranian student was, I think we met back in, would have been about 2004 or 2005, and we quickly discovered that the Iranian students are full of life, and they are very intelligent, and they have lots of interesting ideas and opinions. We began to learn about the very rich Persian culture, and it was very exciting for us to see how Persians celebrate many things, and they attach a very deep meaning to so many things. And we began to learn about their food. I remember the first student that we met had transferred here. Actually, he had finished a degree in another school and had started another degree here. And we invited him over to our house, and my wife had gone online, Margie, she had gone online, and she had found a website with Persian recipes. And she had made him a traditional Persian meal, and he could not believe it. He walked in the house, and he said, "That smells like my home." To me, it's very exciting to see how hard the students from Iran work, and how they just completely throw themselves into their research, and they're very competent and excited about what they're doing, and it's neat to watch.
Research in Iranians, I think, is one of pretty common belief that they're really nice folks. I think that by and large it's a challenge across the globe. If somebody speaks another language, somebody looks a little bit different, they are the other. So I think it takes an opportunity for Americans to step outside of the comfort zone and make the effort just to say hello and start that conversation and to find out that, you know, we're not so much different. We are a lot of the same. We love the same way. We care the same way. And I think that it's an opportunity for Iranian students to go out there and meet other Americans as well, just to get out there and talk with them. I think that some of the misconceptions many Americans harbor are they're coming here to take our jobs. To the defense of my friends from outside the U.S. borders, I know you're not coming to take our jobs. And what I tell them, the perfect scenario is, if you want a bridge built right, who do you want to build it? The person who does the best job. It doesn't matter where they're from. If you want your child to be taken care of at the hospital, who do you want to take care of your child? The person that has the best experience or best expertise. It doesn't matter where you're from. So if we get past those barriers, get past those common misbeliefs that people are from abroad are coming to take our jobs, we're going to find that we have a lot of friends across the world with a lot of commonalities. And I think that can change lives.
In fact, there is little difference between Iranians and Americans. Iranian students are not coming here to take jobs from Americans. They are hard-working human beings who deserve to have a better life, remain in the United States, build their career, and raise their family. If both sides put in the effort to understand each other, it will be a rewarding experience for both Iranians and Americans.